Hello everyone, my name is Cyrus Hojati, and I'm doing a video responding to some of the clips that Mike Stathis has made. Some of the clips that he does debunking and criticizing many of these pundits out there regarding to investment or other things that impact our society. And one of the things about Mike Stathis, now first of all, this is not a bashing video entirely. Just because I criticize him doesn't mean I criticize him in general. I don't think that he's a terrible person in general. But anyway, just like a lot of these people, I think they could use some improvement. And certainly, like a lot of these people, I don't trust and I don't even rely. And so what you have here is a video. It's one of these videos where AVA and Mike Stathis, generally what he does is that he uses foul language. He's very aggressive. He's very down. He's very depressed. And yes, it's true. There's a lot of misinformation about the financial markets, about these pundits, con men, salespeople, and a lot of different things. A lot of people who are idiots spreading misinformation. And yes, it's true that nevertheless, of course, the media in a lot of respects is toxic. And Mike Stathis did get a lot of his calls correct. However, the problem is that his style, his method of marketing, in my opinion, is pretty depressing when you think about it. And given his tone, given his style, I just specifically believe that it's hard for me to believe that he even has the kind of track record that he claimed that he does. He certainly got a lot of things right, but how do you expect me to believe that? You know, when he tries to bash people like this and try to, bring up only himself and bring down everybody else, I feel pretty suspicious about it. But anyway, let's play the clip and see how he responds very unprofessionally in a very aggressive and threatening manner. And this is really where I think you can see the true colors of Mike Stathis.
Stupid bimbo.
In general, the price of gold.
Okay, so I just think, first of all, why in the world would you even call somebody a bimbo? What are you getting out of it? You're not really necessarily exposing the truth. You're bringing yourself down. That's just what I see.
Is a measure of the stability of the economy. If inflation is up, gold should go up too. However, we have changed the way we measure and
gold has not.
And yes, she's absolutely wrong. Of course, gold is not a measure of inflation. Of course, America had plenty of inflation during the 1980s and 90s, and nevertheless, gold prices really went nowhere. That is a good point. So the thing is that, however, is how this guy responds to this woman. And, I believe if you want to gouge against inflation, you're better off getting into the Dow Jones, or probably better off in the oil market, because gold really does not correlate with the real inflation rate. So consumer prices are higher than where they were in 2011, and gold is actually lower.
Nothing to do with the health of the economy. Who the fuck do you think you are, spewing all these lies? What makes you qualified? Are you fucking kidding me? Shut your fucking trap before I punch your lights out, you stupid airhead cunt.
So this alone just shows Stathis' aggressive behavior. Like, honestly, I don't know what is your problem, Stathis. Did your mom beat you up? Did you have a tough time growing up as a child? Did your spouse just pass away yesterday? Did somebody rob you $1 million? I kind of find it ironic, a guy who claims that he has the best track record in the world, which in that logic, he should be very rich and successful. Well, if you're so rich and successful, you should be a pretty happy and enthusiastic person. And it makes me think that if you really were a successful investor, you would not be behaving this way. You would be actually pretty excited and you would be actually using a better tone, but at the same time still criticizing and bringing down this woman in a different fashion. And I just really think, first of all, the words that you say are pretty threatening. And maybe, I don't know, some of his followers actually, believe it or not, threatened to actually sue me. But if that's really the case, then maybe I should contact this woman and say, hey, well, Mike Stathis is threatening you. He's using foul language. His behavior is totally appropriate. And maybe this woman should sue Mike Stathis. I don't know. Because honestly, I don't know what's the point of using foul language. What are you getting with it? You're so angry. You're so pissed off at what? Did this woman ruin your life? Maybe you're jealous. I don't know. But if you really are jealous about the fact that they're getting airtime and you're not, well, maybe it's because of you. Because I look at your website and then you have a lot of requirements and a lot of policies that people have to meet if they want to interview Mike Stathis. And nevertheless, of course, Veterans Today has promoted your articles. You've been interviewed by Press TV. So, Mr. Stathis, you had the opportunity to make YouTube videos. And not just YouTube videos posted by your followers. I mean YouTube videos where it's done a lot more professionally with better graphics, where we see who you are, who you look like, what's your background, get a little more about you, and then you can drive a lot of traffic away from Peter Schiff, Max Kaiser, Maloney, and all these other folks out there. But you chose not to do so. You could have gotten tens and thousands of subscribers and possibly millions of views. But you chose not to do so. You chose to put yourself in a very hidden fashion. As a matter of fact, your organization doesn't even have a telephone number where people can contact you and see who you guys are really about. And then I guess you wonder why people in this society are so stupid and are so sheep of the so-called Jewish mafia. Because if you're not providing help and assistance, and I don't mean just talking about your investment research, I'm talking more about your views on society, a toolkit on how we can defeat this so-called Jewish establishment. If you're not providing that information very well to the public, not providing any activism tools, people that we can support, other than just yourself, because you can't just say that 7.5 billion people on this earth are idiots and con men. It just doesn't work. That's just not how it is. We have a lot of great things in this world. Then you, unfortunately, are not helping much. Because you can complain about how our society is so dumb and sheephole, but if you're not providing any tools and information, which is a public relations issue, this isn't some like service that you're providing as an investment analysis, then perhaps, I guess, well, you probably just have to blame yourself. I don't know. But anyway, the point is that this anger tone that you have, it's only making yourself look worse. And this probably explains why your firm has not gotten a lot of subscribers. Because I believe you say in one of your videos that your rates are going up because of the Jewish mafia and there's less and less people subscribing to your services. I could be wrong, and this is why you're raising your prices. Well, this tone of yours is not helping. Now, you can argue, well, if you don't like my tone, don't watch my videos. Well, unfortunately, it's losing your customers potentially, and it's probably explains the reason why the Jewish mafia has just so much power in society. And speaking about the Jewish mafia, that theory has been kind of misleading and it's been debunked. If you look at the real power structure, you'll see that it's the Jesuits, it's the Vatican that have lots of power as well. And if you don't believe that, then how do you explain the Knights of Malta and the Club of Rome? How do you explain that?
Inflation 20 times.
Gold has nothing to do with inflation. Shut up.
Since 1980. If we measure inflation.
Okay, I'm done with this stupid cunt. And by the way, people, if you don't like my choice of language, don't watch my videos. Don't fucking cry to me. I don't give a damn. Okay, I'm done holding back off these idiots.
Yeah, so basically, from Mike's status is that we have to listen to this guy who's so angry, so depressed, which it makes you think, like, how can a guy be so depressed given the fact that he's so wealthy and successful from his track record? Which, I don't know, I guess you can argue being rich doesn't make you happy. But anyway, you're supposed to stay away from all the media, everybody else in the world, probably including my YouTube channel, because I think many of his followers think that I'm a Jew and I'm part of the problem. And you have to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars for his research, as if like he is the God that's going to rescue you, and he's just going to shout and badmouth you every other way and make you feel guilty. Okay, and again, this is what he's telling you. This is what he's offering you. And then he complains about everything in society, but not offering you much, as far as I know, about what he really is going to help our society, to improve our education system, to improve our financial system, to stop the military-industrial complex. He's doing very little, as far as I know, to solve this problem. So, in other words, you can look at Mike Stathis as doom and gloom, but I don't mean doom and gloom in terms of an investment point of view, just doom and gloom of society. Everybody sucks, but he's the only person that you can trust. 7.5 billion people on this earth is an idiot, but himself. Yeah. You know, the thing is that it's funny how many of his followers listen to him so much that I think that if Mike Stathis were to take a dump in the street, they're going to defend him. I mean, this is just how... It's kind of like Peter Schiff in a way, because Peter Schiff and Stathis, they have followers, and they seem to like defend him no matter what.
This is just the beginning. If you don't like it, don't watch the videos. Okay? Okay?
So if we don't watch the videos, then how do we get help and assistance on the investment markets, given the fact that you bash seems like everybody and you don't have any allies? And the same thing with the news media in terms of political events. Where do we get our information? Do we just get eaten by the Jewish mafia? See, this is a thing. But then he complains and rants about everybody being stupid. Well, certainly his efforts are really not helping as much. I hate to break it to you. And I think many of you who are subscribed to his channel, well, if you've done pretty well in his research, kudos to you. And I will admit he's provided a lot of good information. But at the end of the day, you could actually do pretty successful if you do your research on your own. You don't need Max Kaiser, you don't need Stathis, you don't need Schiff, you don't need Jim Cramer, you don't need CNBC, you don't need Greg Manarino, you don't need these people to do well in the financial markets. Okay? You can do those services on your own. Now, if Stathis has helped you, that's fine. But I don't think that his services provide necessarily work in the best interest of myself. Okay? That's just all I have to tell you. So let's just go down in other parts of the videos and see some of the comments he's been making.
Some of you realize that now that gold has collapsed. Some of you realize now that I've been saying what I've been saying all along is true. I've been the only financial expert out there who's been warning people, who recommended gold several years ago, but started warning people about the realities, the myths of gold, so that you would realize that gold is getting too fucking high and you better watch it.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but I don't think he's the only person that said that the gold market is going to basically blow up. I remember going back on Yahoo Finance, and there were plenty of people who talked about the gold market blowing up. And there were many YouTube channels that debunked the Peter Schiffs of the world. Not just, of course, Mike Norman, but many of the other channels that were pretty similar. So now it is true that Mike Stathis might have been the only person who knew when to get in and when to get out. I don't know. I most likely think that's not true, but you can see from his tone and his language, you can see that I feel pretty suspicious that he's over-exaggerating the story to make you feel guilty, and so you can literally fall into his bubble. Because that's what he's creating. He's creating a bubble of supporters to think that he is the God and he knows better than everybody else, and everybody else who's involved in investments and finance is an idiot. Now, sure, you can argue that some forecasters didn't do so well, but that doesn't mean, though, that if you listen to those forecasters who have a not-so-good track record of status, that does not mean, though, that you obviously were going to make a worse return. So in other words, there may be some people who got the stock market crashes and opportunities right. Maybe they didn't do very well in the gold market. They don't have any record. But still, you could make a lot of money. And I'm sure a lot of those people, you don't have to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for their research. You don't need to do that. And by the way, I'm 26 years old. What do people like me, because many millennials don't have that kind of money to, spend that kind of money to succeed in the investment market. What do? Do we just get beaten up by the so-called Jewish mafia? See, this is a problem with Stathis. He doesn't really seem to have a heart for the average person, as it seems. He doesn't seem to have like a helping hand in society. So, but anyway, that's just what it is. He just like many of these people, he's a salesperson, okay? And again, I'm not trying to bash him completely. Again, he's gotten a lot of his records right, but his style, his tone, his communication is very suspicious. It's very unprofessional, and in some cases, when he can be wrong on a lot of his assumptions and claims about other people, he can put himself in a lot of trouble, okay? Keep that in mind. So you better be careful when you use this kind of foul language against people.
And of course, I was correct. And in my book, America's Financial Apocalypse, as well as writings thereafter, I have discussed the fact that, hey, gold is not going to stay high forever. It will eventually collapse, and it will gravitate around $300 to $500 for many, 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 many years. And I will guarantee you that. Wait and see.
And again, that's a very good point. I will applaud him for that. I do see that level coming pretty soon. I don't know soon as in like next year, but it could be 5 years, 10 years down the road. But, getting that kind of analysis and knowledge isn't that very difficult. Because when you think about it, when you look at many of the gold bull runs and the busts, you'll see the cycles are pretty similar. And in the 1970s, the gold market went up a lot. It burst in 1980 and it didn't go anywhere until 2001. And I believe there was a similar gold boom, I think, in the 1930s. But anyway, the point is that you can really learn these cycles yourself. And yes, it's true his financial forecast is pretty good in many regards. You don't have to get your tips from a shouting foul language person who's going to charge you a lot of money, where a lot of research information you can really do on yourself.